After a few down weeks, the waiver wire got kind of hot for week 6 as some injuries happened to some prominent players around the league, creating some opportunities for some of these ancillary jabronis at wide receiver and running back to get some opportunity going into week 6 and going forward. That being said, Justin Jefferson had a hamstring injury, got placed on IR, and that's a big impact to the Minnesota Vikings. And we're going to be looking at KJ Osborn today, see whether or not he should be rostered in fantasy, whether or not you need him by looking at the news, the facts, the data, the advanced metrics. But what you need to do is click that subscribe button right now, tap it with your finger on your phone, click it with your mouse on your computer, whatever you need to do. Make sure you get that done. Stop missing out on these deep dives, on these waiver wire prospects that we do almost every day. We also help you set your lineups. We help you with trades. We go deep on the waiver wire all week long. Click that button. Stop missing out. Let's look into KJ Osborn real quick. So Justin Jefferson suffered a hamstring injury. We already know this. He's going to be out for a bit. He's on IR, so going to be out for at least 4 games, maybe longer. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen with him. But right now, there's going to be opportunities in this offense for some other pass catchers to step up and do some things. One pass catcher is KJ Osborn. And I've been getting a lot of questions about him. Also see him searched a lot on a lot of the other sites. So that being said, there's a lot of awareness on KJ Osborn going into this week, as his opportunity should increase going forward with Justin Jefferson out. When it comes to fantasy football production for this year, he's got a couple good games. He got a good one in week 2 against the Eagles and then against the Chargers in weeks 3, both over double-digit PPR fantasy points. Outside of that, it's been off and on, as he's only crossed the goal line twice this season. Target-wise, week 1 and 2, he hit 6 targets. Week 5, he hit 9. Then the other ones, it was kind of low. But still, KJ Osborn is like the 3rd wide receiver in this offense. But it's a high-volume passing offense nonetheless. Justin Jefferson gets a ton of the targets. We get a lot of targets going to the tight end, some to the running back. That being said, KJ Osborn could be stepping into more opportunity. Looking at his production over the last 3 years, 2023, 2022, and 2021, you notice he can have some pop-off weeks. He can go off on any given moment. He does have some upside here that he could tap into, but also the downside is rather low because he is not a main option in this offense. But seeing more opportunity could allow him to tap into that upside some more. Looking at his fantasy production from week to week this season, it has been off and on, as you would expect, considering he's like the 3rd or 4th option in this passing game. And it's a high-volume passing game, so it's allowing him to get in double-digit PPR fantasy scoring in some weeks. We should see something happen here where he's getting more opportunities, more targets, and more opportunities to score fantasy points in some of these matchups. He could be hitting double digits more often than not. Looking at his targets on the season, he has been targeted a fair bit. 6, 6, 3, 2, and 9 on the year. That's pretty solid for a wide receiver who's like 3rd in line in targets on a team. And that is a good thing to look at because that could ramp up a little bit or it could stay the same. Another thing you could say is he's already getting targets and he's not doing much with it. He's not being consistent with it. He's not blowing up with it. Had a 9-target game, didn't really blow up. Had 2 6-target games, didn't really blow up. Hasn't really been able to go off yet in the box score, and everybody's waiting for that. Maybe it's just not in the cards. That's another thing if you're playing devil's advocate. But looking at the numbers here, he's got 26 targets on the season, not per game, and a 13.1% target share. He's averaging 46.6 routes per game, though. He's getting a lot of opportunity running routes. He's on the field at least running wind sprints out there, and he's got a 92.7% route participation rate. He's also only seeing 45.6 air yards per game with a 14.1% share of the team's passing air yards. So he's not getting targeted deep downfield consistently. That's impacting his fantasy scoring, his output. If he gets deeper targets, which might happen with Jefferson out, we could see some splash performances. He's also in on 90% of the snaps out there. So he's getting workload, he's getting volume, and he's running routes. So there's going to be some opportunities on the field. So targets have to come his way. Things got to improve going forward with Jefferson out. The ball's got to go somewhere. He's also averaging 8.3 PPR fantasy points per game with Jefferson on the field. Looking at his workout metrics, you're looking at a guy who runs a 4.48 40-yard dash, more than fast enough to get the job done, more than fast enough to compete at the NFL level. Looking at his body of work over the last few years, and now We can definitely see that. So really, there's nothing really to see here. We know he's good enough to compete at the NFL level. The Vikings are running 65 plays per game. However, they're tied for number one in NFL with 47 pass plays per game ran. That's a good number there. They're also second in the league with 23.7 seconds between plays. A fast-paced offense is what you're looking at. One thing to note, though, they may slow things down with Justin Jefferson out of the fold there because it's easier to run things at a faster clip when you got a wide receiver who's always open, who's always getting those yards, always getting those catches, who's super reliable, one of the most reliable wide receivers to ever play the game, really. And now he's out, and now you got to be a little bit more creative with how you spread the ball around. So that's going to be a huge impact. He had 54 targets already on the season, over 10 a game, and a 28% target share, which is elite. KJ Hockenson is floating around there with a 20% target share. That's a big thing to note there because he is soaking up a lot of targets. We should see a big bump up for Jordan Addison as he is a first-round rookie, and he's been looking good, creating separation. He's been balling. KJ Osborn sitting there with a 13% target share. Can we get that to around 18% with Jefferson out these next few games? Can that happen? Because if it stays closer to the same, it's not really going to be worth our time. But if those targets increase, if we get more consistency, if the targets get a little bit deeper, if we can get our ADOT above 10, now it's at 9.4, maybe we have something here. But with Justin Jefferson out of the fold here, you're looking 10 plus targets a game. That's got to go other places. They can't go all to Hockenson. They can't go all to Addison. A little bit's going to go to Osborn because he is earning targets. That means he's going to earn a little bit more, and he's doing some things on the field. He's running a lot of routes. He's seeing a lot of snaps, so some stuff could be funneled his way. Looking at the schedule here going forward, it's not super pretty. It's going to be a slower game against the Bears. Does that mean he can't be productive? It doesn't, but it means that there's going to be less opportunities in that game. Then you got the Niners. We all know about that one. Then after that, we got Green Bay and Atlanta on the road. So the schedule's not too great right now. We got some plus matchups going forward after that. But still, the Vikings like to move at a faster pace unless they decide to slow things down with Jefferson out. That being said, they may dictate this game script anyways and just keep slinging it. And maybe some of these targets still go to Osborn no matter what. Maybe the top options are covered. They go to Osborn anyways. He gets some lockdown weeks for you. But right now, he is a lottery ticket, but he is a wide receiver who's running routes and getting targets. And if that's something you desperately need, you need to look his way because Jefferson's out. Targets should ramp up to some degree. Opportunities should ramp up to some degree. Osborn should be seeing something in this offense. Is he a guy to depend on and trust? Not really. Things are going to change a little bit in this offense, and I don't see him one for one just seeing a huge increase because he's out. I could see him having some splash moments, though. He's a guy you're going to gamble with in lineups, and you don't want to gamble in lineups. You don't want to speculate, and you rather stash running backs. You rather get those jabroni running backs who are falling into touches because they might fall over the goal line, or they might become more than what's expected out of them for the rest of the season, and you could trade them, use them, or add depth to your team, and that's something you'd rather do. But Osborn is in a good situation, not 100% dependable, but a guy that you can play matchups with nonetheless to see what happens, especially with bye weeks coming up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.